Imagine this. She smiles when she sees you, her eyes light up when you walk into the room, maybe she even touches your arm when she laughs. Everything screams interest. And then, radio silence. Your messages get left on read. She pulls back. She acts cold. You go from feeling like you had her to wondering if you ever really did. And right now, you're probably caught in that uncomfortable space between attraction and rejection, asking yourself, did I misread everything? Or is this some kind of game? Let me tell you something most men never figure out. When a woman shows interest and then suddenly pulls away, it's not random. It's psychological. It's calculated. And if you don't understand what's happening in her mind, you're going to chase, overthink, or worse, ruin every ounce of attraction she once felt for you. But here's the good news. If she liked you before, the emotional seed has already been planted. Your job now is not to water it obsessively, but to understand how female psychology works at this stage of the game. Because attraction is not maintained by logic, it's maintained by mystery, by contrast, by emotional friction. And when a woman likes you but begins to ignore you, she's not necessarily losing interest. She might be waiting to see what kind of man you really are when you're no longer getting the validation you were hooked on. The truth is, female attraction isn't linear. It's emotional, fluid, responsive. And most men fail not because they lacked game, but because they failed to recognize that women test more when they care more. Ignoring is often a test of your strength, not a sign of her disinterest. And in this video, I'm going to give you the psychological toolkit that flips the script, not by begging, not by chasing, but by using your understanding of desire, emotional investment, and tension to make her feel you, even in your silence. You're not here to react like every other guy. You're here to master the psychology behind her behavior and turn it into leverage. And we're starting right now. First, understand this foundational truth. Women are not attracted to neediness. They're attracted to stability under emotional pressure. What she's doing, pulling back, going cold, going silent, is not the problem. The real danger is in how you react to it. If you start over-explaining, double-texting, seeking clarity, you instantly become emotionally predictable. And predictable is the death of attraction. As Robert Greene says in The Art of Seduction, never be too obvious in your desires. When you wear your heart too openly, especially too early, you surrender the one thing that creates obsession, uncertainty. Let's go deeper. One of the core dynamics that fuels attraction is intermittent reinforcement. This comes from behavioral psychology, particularly the work of B.F. Skinner, who discovered that behaviors reinforced at irregular intervals are the most addictive. Casinos use this, social media uses this, and women use it too, consciously or unconsciously. When a woman shows interest, then withdraws, then shows interest again, she's creating a pattern of uncertainty. If you react with neediness during her withdrawal phase, you've just broken the spell. But if you stay grounded, self-contained, even slightly indifferent, you're now triggering the exact same psychological loop in her. Now, she's the one chasing the validation. She's the one wondering. This isn't manipulation. This is understanding the emotional patterns that actually drive desire. Women are not drawn to comfort. They're drawn to contrast. The man who can be warm and charming one moment and self-possessed and distant, the next creates emotional variety. And it's that variety, not consistency, that makes you unforgettable. Neil Strauss, author of The Game, once explained that the moment a woman feels like she has you emotionally figured out, her interest drops dramatically. Why? Because the mystery is gone. You've become emotionally flat, predictable, safe. And no woman fantasizes about safe. So what do you do when she starts ignoring you after showing signs of interest? You lean back, not out of revenge, not as a tactic, but as a sign of strength. You don't chase what's pulling away. You don't beg for clarity. You let the silence do the talking for you. Because when you pull your energy away, when you reclaim your attention, you create a vacuum. And psychologically, human beings hate vacuums. The absence of attention becomes more powerful than the presence of it. She starts to wonder, did he lose interest? Did I go too far? Did he find someone else? And now, the balance of power starts shifting. But let's go even deeper than that. Ignoring is often a woman's way of asking a subconscious question. Can I trust you to remain strong even when I'm emotionally inconsistent? And if the answer is yes, if you can stay composed, indifferent, even amused when she plays this game, then you become the rare man who passes a test most fail. You signal emotional abundance. You're showing that her silence doesn't destabilize you. And that's attractive in a way that words can't replicate. Think of this as a psychological frame battle. When she starts ignoring you, she's trying to put you into the reactive frame. And if you let her do it, if you respond with anxiety or questions or attention, you've just told her that she controls the emotional tempo of the relationship. But if you stay still, hold your line, and even shift your focus elsewhere, socially, mentally, energetically, you reclaim the dominant frame. You show her that your self-worth is not on the line. And paradoxically, that makes her want to earn your attention again. This is where most men break. They think silence means they're losing her, so they panic. But here's the key. Her silence isn't rejection. It's space. Space she's creating to observe you from a distance, to test the emotional narrative she's building around you. Are you the kind of man who gets flustered when things don't go his way? Or are you the kind of man who remains unshaken, who knows that he's the prize, and treats every moment of tension as an opportunity to reinforce his value? Now listen carefully. Every time she ignores you, it's a chance to increase attraction, if you respond correctly. This means no reaction, no emotional outburst, no chasing. Instead, you become more mysterious. You become more present in your own world. You post a photo out having fun. You elevate your vibe. You laugh with other women. You invest in yourself. You show without saying it that you are a man with options, and that she's just one of them. This isn't to provoke her. It's to remind her that she's dealing with a man who doesn't crumble when things get uncomfortable. And that's what creates psychological gravity. The kind of silent pull that makes her think about you when she's lying in bed. That makes her wonder why you're not reacting like every other guy she's ignored before. That makes her realize she just might lose something rare. And that fear, my friend, is far more powerful than any message you could send. There's something fascinating about how a woman reacts when she expects you to chase, and you don't. That moment when she's checking her phone, waiting for your name to pop up, and it doesn't. That silent gap, that invisible pause in attention. It speaks louder than any word you could say. And the reason it works so powerfully has everything to do with the way the female mind processes emotional imbalance. You see, when she pulls away and you give space without punishment, without begging, without freezing her out, you're doing something most men never do. You're creating emotional contrast without resentment. And that makes you unpredictable in the most attractive way. Think about this. Most women are used to emotional symmetry. She gives a little, he gives more. She pulls away, he chases harder. It's a pattern. It's predictable. But when you break that pattern, not by ghosting, not by playing games, but by simply holding your frame, she's thrown into a new psychological state: curiosity. And curiosity is the first seed of renewed attraction. If she can't predict you, she has to think about you. And once a woman starts thinking about you, replaying your silence, your smile, your body language, your absence, you're no longer just a man she liked. You become a question that lingers. This is where the real seduction happens. Not in chasing, not in texting paragraphs, but in the psychological space you occupy when you're not physically present. That's why mystery is magnetic. That's why women fall for the man who doesn't need constant reassurance. Because the man who is grounded, who doesn't collapse under emotional pressure, activates a deeper part of her attraction. Emotional security without emotional predictability. That paradox, that duality, is what keeps her emotionally hooked. And here's another layer most men miss. When a woman starts ignoring you, it often means you've already triggered her emotions. Apathy doesn't create tension. Emotional activation does. If you meant nothing to her, she wouldn't ignore you. She'd forget you. Ignoring requires intention. It's a response to emotional noise. And when she ignores, she's often waiting to see, will you prove her emotional fears right, or will you shift the narrative? Now let's talk about emotional calibration. Not reacting doesn't mean doing nothing. It means responding with intentional distance. You're not going cold. You're staying warm, but unavailable. Present in energy, but not in pursuit. It's a form of subtle dominance. It shows that you are aware of her, but not controlled by her. That balance is rare. It's masculine. It's the difference between the man who reacts out of insecurity and the man who acts out of self-respect. And that self-respect becomes your brand. It's what she feels when she scrolls through your profile and sees that your life didn't stop. It's what she notices when she bumps into you and you're smiling, engaged, glowing, without her. It's what makes her question her silence, her pullback, her decision to ignore. Because deep down, what women respond to isn't just confidence. It's energetic clarity. You know who you are. You know what you bring. And you're not going to let inconsistent behavior shake that. Remember this principle. Attention is currency. The more freely you give it, the less value it holds. When a woman ignores you, don't donate attention. Invest it where it grows. In yourself, in your goals, in your social momentum. Because that's what makes you attractive long-term, not just to her, but to women in general. You don't need to pull women when you're radiating purpose. They orbit, they notice, they remember. And the one who ignored you? She'll start watching from a distance, wondering if you've emotionally replaced her. And in that wondering, the power dynamic shifts again. But let's go even further. When she ignores you and you lean back, something else happens beneath the surface. You become a mirror. You reflect her own emotional inconsistency back at her. Not by confronting her, not by calling her out, but by doing nothing. In your silence, she sees herself, her own fears, her own behavior, and if she has real interest, that discomfort grows. Because now, she's not reacting to you. She's reacting to the emotional echo chamber you've created. A space where her games don't work, where her usual patterns hit a wall. And that, ironically, is where real attraction is born, in the absence of familiar power. This is why so many men fail when they chase after being ignored. They try to fill the space when in reality, the space is the seduction. She needs to feel the loss. She needs to feel the shift. She needs to feel what life is like without your validation. Only then can she recalibrate emotionally and remember what she's missing. And the man who allows that recalibration without resistance, he becomes unforgettable because he didn't need to prove his value, he embodied it. Think of attraction like fire. Sometimes you don't need more flame, you need more oxygen. And oxygen is created through space, through stillness, through the power of holding back. It's not passive, it's potent, it's decisive. It says, I'm not here to chase approval. I'm here to be chosen by someone who recognizes my worth without needing to be reminded. That kind of energy doesn't just attract women, it magnetizes them. And here's something else most never understand. When she feels your absence and reaches back out, how you respond in that moment is just as critical. Don't jump, don't collapse, don't make her the center of your universe again. Keep your energy balanced. Respond with warmth, but hold your frame. Don't reward inconsistency with instant access. Instead, reintroduce yourself as the man who doesn't beg, doesn't break, and doesn't bend. You're not punishing her. You're reminding her that attention is earned, that intimacy has value, that access to you is not a given, it's a privilege. Now let's touch something most guys completely overlook. The way a woman processes time and attraction is different from how you do. For men, interest is often linear. You meet her, you like her, you build rapport, and if things go well, you expect it to move forward logically. But for women, attraction is emotional and cyclical. It comes in waves. And when she pulls away, ignores you, or seems distant, it might not even be personal. It's often just emotional noise in her internal world. And if you try to respond to that noise by fixing, solving, or checking in, you're actually stepping into her emotional turbulence, which makes you look unstable, reactive, and, worst of all, common. Instead, what separates the men who create deep impact is this. They understand that her emotional pullbacks are natural, not threatening. They hold space without fear, without trying to manage her mood, without spiraling into neediness. And by doing that, they actually position themselves as emotionally safe, but not emotionally available in excess. And that combination creates an effect in her mind that feels both confusing and addictive. You become associated with calm in the middle of her emotional storms, while still being a challenge. That balance makes her not just want you, it makes her crave your energy. This is the principle behind what some psychologists call secure aloofness. You're grounded, emotionally solid, but not available on demand. You're like the sun, constant, powerful, but untouchable unless she rises to your frequency. And here's where it gets even more powerful. The moment she realizes that your presence is not guaranteed, she starts to invest emotionally again. Not because you asked her to, but because your lack of chase created space for her desire to rebuild itself on its own. That's the difference between real attraction and transactional interest. Most guys are playing the transaction game. I text, she replies. I take her out, she gives attention. But the high-value man plays the resonance game. He doesn't chase a response. He creates a vibe, a presence. And that presence lingers even when he's not around. He's not focused on what she does moment to moment. He's focused on what she feels when he's not there. Now here's where we shift the dynamic even further. You have to understand that ignoring can be a psychological test, yes, but it can also be a subconscious defense mechanism. Sometimes a woman starts to feel real feelings for you, and that scares her, especially if she's been hurt before. Her reaction? She pulls away. She ignores you. She creates emotional distance. But what she's really doing is protecting herself. And the way you respond tells her everything she needs to know about whether she can trust those feelings. If you chase her down, try to convince her, or worse, start emotional arguments, you've just reinforced her internal fear. But if you respond with calm detachment, if you stay grounded in your own masculine energy and continue living well, you actually send a different message. You show her that closeness with you doesn't mean chaos, that she can feel something for you without being smothered, that she can withdraw emotionally and you won't try to control her in return. And that is healing for her. It disarms her defenses. It softens her resistance. It draws her back in. And now let's talk about the concept of emotional vacuum. This is a powerful psychological force. When someone gets used to your emotional presence, your energy, your attention, your validation, and then it disappears without drama, their brain starts to search for it. It's not just about attraction, it's about neurological wiring. Our brains are pattern-seeking machines. When you disrupt a pattern by being absent instead of reactive, her brain starts hunting for the missing link. And this creates mental loops, obsessive thoughts. Did I do something wrong? Why isn't he reacting? Was he ever really interested? These questions don't hurt you. They build your value. Because while she's overthinking, you're over there thriving. That contrast, the image of a man who remains focused, fulfilled, and unbothered, is intoxicating to the female mind. And when she does reach back out, it won't be with the same energy as before. It will be softer, more curious, a little more humble. Because now, she's not just talking to a guy she liked. She's dealing with a man she respects. And that shift, from interest to respect, is the real gateway to long-term attraction. And let's be brutally honest here. If a woman can ignore you, make you doubt yourself, and pull you off your center, you were never leading. She was. And women don't follow men, they lead. They might enjoy the control temporarily, but long-term, they crave polarity. They crave a man who doesn't get emotionally disoriented just because she disappears for a few days. They want to feel safe in your presence and uncertain about your mind. That's the paradox that keeps their attraction alive. So what do you do with all of this? You adopt what I call the magnetic pause. This means that when she pulls away, you don't just stay silent. You use that silence to expand. You improve, you work, you thrive. You make her absence irrelevant by elevating your own world. So when she does return, and if there was ever real attraction, she will, she's not coming back to the same man. She's coming back to a man who leveled up without her. And that hits deep. That makes her feel like she missed a part of your journey. And that feeling creates pursuit. And here's the part most men never realize. Her attraction to you doesn't just depend on what you do with her. It also depends on how she sees you being received by the world around you. If you're socially respected, if other women seem drawn to you, if your presence commands attention without needing validation, you become what evolutionary psychologists call a pre-selected male. Women aren't just looking at who you are with them, they're scanning who you are without them. That's why when you remain calm during her silence, when you laugh with friends, show up with energy, interact confidently, and simply exist powerfully without her, it changes everything. Because now she's not just remembering how you made her feel, she's noticing how other people react to you. That's social proof in action. It's the difference between being just another guy in her DMs and being the guy who makes her feel like she could lose something truly rare. And the moment she starts to sense that, the dynamic flips. Now she's the one managing her emotions, checking her phone, wondering how she went from ignoring you to needing to hear from you again. And here's the final truth I want to leave you with. When you stop chasing, when you stop reacting, when you start leading with calm, grounded energy, and you understand the psychology behind her behavior, you don't just become more attractive, you become unforgettable. Because the man who knows how to respond to a woman's silence without losing his power is the man who stays in her mind long after the conversation ends. Now, if this resonated with you, if you've ever been in a situation where you knew she liked you but her behavior confused the hell out of you, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment below and share your story. Because there are men out there going through the exact same thing, and your experience might give them the clarity they need. And if you found value here, if this helped you understand the game on a deeper level, don't forget to like the video. It lets me know this content matters. And subscribe if you want to keep sharpening your edge, mastering female psychology, and becoming the kind of man who doesn't just attract women, but captivates them. We're building something powerful here. Men who don't fold under pressure, men who lead, men who understand how attraction really works. So if you're one of them, make your presence known. I'll see you in the next one.